All right, cool. So Aashay Shah, thank you so much for coming on the Healthy Indian podcast. I know you were on Indian Matching season two, Indian Matchmaking season two, and I
Yeah.
want to thank you for coming on the show. I know you're really big into fitness, rock climbing, a lot of other things too, and I really like your fashion as well, bro. So
Thank you,
awesome to
man.
have you on.
Appreciate it.
So
No, thanks
feel
for
free
having
to
me, man. This is great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you feel free to introduce yourself. Are you, I know you might be big on mental health, but do you use like what is like your morning routine like? I was curious to always know because you're
Yeah.
always dressed really well. So I always thought that always wanted to know like how do you keep yourself always like dressed well, but also in shape all the time? It's like something I was just genuinely curious to know. So
Yeah. No, no, no. So, I mean, morning routine. I mean, I don't. Before I go to work, I'll try to wake up. I'm trying to get into like meditation a little bit more. I haven't really done that really throughout my life because I'm very I'm very like high energy, so I just have a lot of just thoughts racing through my mind. So I don't know if I can like sit still in one spot for like a prolonged period of time. So meditation's been like kind of tough for me just because it's tougher for me to just keep my mind calm and just kind of stay there. But I need to get into that a little bit more just to calm the mind more because there's so many benefits to
yeah,
meditation that I would love to reap the benefits of. So I want to get into that a little bit more. But morning routine. I mean, I wake up. If I have some time, I'll go work out in the morning. Just get that out of the way before work starts. So I'll go to the gym, grab a quick like 15-20 minute hit workout just on like a treadmill or somewhere on the mat just with like light weights and things like that. And then I go to work. I eat breakfast. I go to work, and then I like to hit like my full workouts like after work. So in the evening when I have some more time, just like I have nothing else going on for
yeah.
the 2 hours after work. So I just try to get into the gym then, and just try to do heavy lifting at that time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It sounds
Yeah.
like a solid workout. Would you say your workout is like a pivotal role of your like lifestyle? Do you do it like religiously every day? Or is it like certain days you miss or whatever?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. There's times where I miss days just because you get lazy. Things come up. Life happens. So you miss certain days. But yeah, I mean I try to work out maybe like like 4 or 5 times a week. I try to work out, and then the days that I'm not working out, I'll try to stay active by doing things like play basketball, any kind of sport. So I'm big into like cardio, getting cardio in that way because I don't like running is cool. Like I started running more once like COVID came because
Right.
before then I was like I don't want to just run for no reason, like I don't really enjoy that part of like because I feel like it's a drag. But then once COVID hit and gyms were closed, the only option that I really had was going outside and running.
Sure.
So running or walking. So then I started slow. I'm like, oh, let me just start running because running is very hard. I don't know if you do you run yourself or no?
Yeah, I actually love to run. I've actually did like a half K marathon recently.
Nice.
But I kind of gained some weight back because I feel like running doesn't really build you muscle. It
Yeah.
kind of gives you a great cardiovascular system, but it
Yeah.
doesn't really give you a good like muscle tonage and it actually attacks your gains. So I think what
Mm.
you're doing with HIT is very important. And I
Yeah.
think for me, like I used to do it at one point when I was very cutting and very lean. I used to eat a specific diet. I used to just get so cut and I feel really healthy.
Yeah.
But I think it's underestimated because people do like a 50-minute hit workout, which is not intended. It's only like a 20-minute. So I think
Yeah.
what you're doing is correct. I think having small sessions is better than hour long hit because I don't think that's hit at that point, right? It's just
No.
going
Right.
crazy. So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So like running is like I can play basketball. I can play sports for hours and hours without getting tired. But like running, when I first started running, like even like I remember like I was trying to run a mile and I had to take a break halfway through because I'm
wow,
like I'm like yo, this is rough because I mean
it's rough.
just running just for the purpose of running, I feel like that's tough. So after a few days, I got my body got acclimated to it, and then I was able to run like a 5K. Like because normally when I run, I'll try to run like a 5K worth of
It's
distance. So
pretty
like
solid.
3.5 miles I'll run, and then like try to like weightlift and things like that, like other parts of the day. So yeah, I started running and I started enjoying it because I'm like it's the easiest type of workout. You just go out there and just start running. Got music in there, music playing on your headphones, and just kind of run. and it's good therapy, like for especially during COVID, like when there was nothing else to do. I was just, I was living by myself, and there was nothing else to do. So I'm like, gyms are closed. Um, like, what do I do? So I started running, and then I did that probably for like 6 to 8 months. Is all I did was run because everything was closed, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, so I ran. So I lost a little bit of, like you said, the muscle mass. Like, it doesn't help build any muscle. So since I wasn't getting into the gym, I leaned out more than I was, which I didn't want. But then once the gyms were open again, I started getting back to the gym, and then just start weightlifting and just start to build that muscle back up.
So, like, how did you discover rock climbing? Because I know, like, I don't know if the show covered that in matchmaking, but
Yeah,
how did you discover rock climbing? Because I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah,
You don't see a lot of Indian people or brown people in general rock climb that often.
yeah,
Me personally, I did like my own solo trip to Yosemite, and I saw a lot of rock climbers.
yeah.
So I always interested to know. Do you only do rock climbing in the gym, or have you done like outside or
Yeah.
one of those like Terrans and stuff?
No, no. So I've never done like outdoor, like actually scaling mountains. I've never like climbed actual mountains.
Okay.
Uh, but the only time I've rock climbed is like in the gym. So I started rock climbing like when I was in undergrad. It's like years back
Oh,
because we had at our gym at the school we had like a big rock climbing facility as well. So we had so you could go in and you could rock climb. You could rent out like the space. I think it was you could either rent it out or you had to get on a list to be the person. So basically, either way, I started rock climbing at that time just to have like an extra type of fitness, like exercise that I could do during the week. Because like weightlifting's
right.
cool. I play a lot of basketball, so basketball is cool. That's my favorite type of cardio. And then I'm like, well, let's mix things up. So I started rock climbing, and it's super difficult at first, just because it takes a lot of like different muscles that you have to activate. So it takes a lot of practice just to kind of get into the flow of rock climbing. So it was difficult at first, but then just I think practice makes perfect. So I just did it more and more. It became a hobby after a while. So then I just did it more and more. And then once I moved to New York, I started doing it. There's a gym in Williamsburg here that I go to as well, called Vital. So a friend of
Right.
mine, he introduced me to that gym, so we started going there together to rock climb, and yeah, so that's when I started, getting back into it a little bit more. So started from undergrad, and then I did rock climbing, a few times a month. I'll go and rock climb, and then once I moved here, I just kind of looking around for different types of workouts, different gyms. I got back into the rock climbing since I hadn't really done it since COVID started. So then getting back into it was it was difficult at first, but it was
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, it was great because it's a great workout. I feel like just and it's something fun to do more than even like a workout, because it's not going to get you big. It's not going to get you like ripped up or toned. Um, but it's just a fun thing to do, to just get moving, and that's the most important thing, right? It's like movement is the most important thing, no matter what you do. So you can walk, you can weight lift, you can run, rock climb, swim. You can do all those things, but as long as you're just moving your body, I think that's the most important thing.
I think people forget sometimes how important moving is, and I think you have to distract your mind to almost see like why movement is so important, bro. Because I think what you're doing is really healthy and really inspirational, especially to people who are also single too.
Hmm.
I think they like every a lot of people would love to be, I guess, in your shoes, almost like kind of having like ability to do rock climbing. Because I went rock climbing before. It was hard, bro. Like,
Yeah,
and you go on a harness and come back down, and I
yeah,
didn't have too much upper body strength until I started
yeah,
doing pull-ups, and
yeah,
that's when I was like, okay, this thing
yeah.
works.
Oh yeah, it's super hard, man. Like it's very difficult. Like, people don't understand, right? It's like you see people on TV and you're like, oh, that looks easy. You go from
Yeah,
you hold on to one and then go to the other, so on and so forth. But a lot of it is grip strength, right? So it doesn't even matter like if you have upper
yeah,
body strength, because I see so many people that are in the gym that are a lot smaller than I am,
yeah.
and they're scaling, like they're climbing like the most difficult like walls without any problem. And I'm like, wow, like
I'm
that's
with you, bro.
crazy. Like they're like flipping around. They're just effortlessly just climbing the walls, the most difficult ones. They're like smaller than me. So I think a lot of it is like grip strength, placement, uh, hand placement, foot placement, and just try to expend as little energy as possible to get up there. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work, man. It's a lot harder than it looks, for sure.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
How did you have like a, I guess I know in the show it showed you rock climbing, but aside from that, did you Did you have any like mental, like I guess, like health or mental struggles? Like I had anxiety due with the gym at one point, or even like driving. So did you ever have like any mental battles when it comes to, I guess, fitness and stuff? Because it's a lot. Like being
Yeah,
actively fit every day, and then
yeah,
also doing like a show with all these lights and cameras on. I mean, even podcasting, it took me a while to get used to even like talking to
yeah,
you in like baseline like this. But
yeah,
it's a lot, right? When you're not
yeah,
an actor.
yeah.
So you know.
Yeah,
How
no, I mean it's definitely. I mean it's different, right? So when I started like filming for Indian Matchmaking, it was different. Like it was I'd never done that before, and it was something new. Like I don't I like having cameras in my face. I like
okay.
I actually like that feeling, but at the same time it can be very like overwhelming, right? Because it's like you have to you try to put your best foot forward. You at the same time you're trying to be yourself. So which for me like I think like being like it was trying to balance everything. I think it was fine because I was just genuinely myself throughout the whole process. So that part wasn't, but I think just then just balancing like your regular like life with everything else is I think it just takes a little bit of discipline, and I think it's just you just have to kind of just take it one thing at a time. You can't like if you think about all these things at the same time, you kind of overwhelm yourself and you just kind of get anxious and nervous and just start it's kind of like trying to climb a big mountain versus tackling little mountains one at a time. So I think it's just the routine that I built over the years. I think that just kind of played into it for the most part, honestly, just because this was just it wasn't like you said I wasn't acting, so it wasn't like I was on
Yeah,
set every day from
yeah,
like 6 a.m. to like 6 p.m., right? So it wasn't like an actual job that I had. We were filming every once in a while, maybe every month or every 2 months we were filming. So during those times, then yeah, you'd have to travel and we go on set and do filming, but it wasn't like an everyday thing where I had to kind of prioritize that into my routine, because my routine was my routine. It was just whatever I was doing on a regular basis, I was doing. And then just this was added into it every once in a while, every month, every few weeks. It was kind of added into it. So that's how I took it, and that's just how I think I balanced everything. Just stay with my routine, my normal things, my day to day things that I do, and then just take every opportunity that comes along, right? So like the filming, for instance, that came along. That was a big opportunity for we filmed for season two. I think we filmed for like 2-3 months. I think was the stuff you see in season two is about like 2-3 months worth of stuff.
right, right. No, that was very interesting too, because I was like, how is he like so fit? Like this was me, but I don't know if anyone else was wondering that. But I was like, how is he
Mm.
so fit, but at the same time able to say the right things, and then also like have find a partner and also have her say or reciprocate well to him
Yeah,
with all these lights on. Because I think for me,
yeah,
the biggest thing is like you're going on a date, right? Like I would consider myself to be a good person to date. But
yeah,
then if I was on a show like this, I would be like, well, now like I'm on the spot. So it's like,
yeah,
do I have to say the best thing or
yeah,
like, and I know you're probably going to say be yourself, but that's so hard when all these
yeah,
lights, camera, action are on, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. No, honestly, like I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's very easy to like try to change for the camera, right? Like so it's very easy
exactly.
because you're trying to put your best foot forward, right? Which
Yeah.
of course I was too. I'm not gonna sit here and say
Yeah.
I wasn't, right?
Right.
But I think I don't know. I think it was just like for like a minute or two when the cameras first started rolling. I was
Yeah.
in the exact same boat as you. I was kind of like I was very nervous. I was kind of I was aware that the cameras were on me. So not as much nervous. I think I was just more aware that the cameras were on me.
Yeah.
So I was trying to, you know, criticizing every step I take. I'm like, oh, nope, don't do this, do this,
Right.
walk
Natural. Yep.
straight, go up the stairs, look straight, try to avoid the cameras. So
Oh
for the
shit.
first like minute or two, I definitely, got in my head. But then after that, I'm like, this seems like it feels like it's much harder to have to think about what your next step is. Rather than doing that, why don't you just be yourself and just say what comes naturally to your mouth, right? So that's literally what I did. I was there. I just kind of tried to zone out the cameras, tune them out, and just kind of have a conversation with her parents. So that was the first time
Oh
what you see
yeah,
on camera
that's
was the first
crazy.
time with me meeting her and her parents. That was my first time meeting her. in general, just period. So that was kind of that was nerve wracking at first, but once I got into the swing of things, I think it was perfectly fine. I think it was just things just kept rolling, and I think it was fine.
No, man, you did great. I mean, it seemed like they loved you, and it's just clearly
Thanks, man.
working out. So,
Thanks, man. Yeah,
no, yeah, of course.
yeah,
So is there aside from that, like, what is one thing people would find specifically surprising about you, aside from like the Indian matchmaking and you rock climbing and you
yeah,
being this really kind and also good person?
yeah.
How would people? What's something that people don't know about you?
Yeah. No, so
Take it
I'm,
away.
I'm big on family. I mean, I think I mentioned that during the show as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But like, you don't get to see like the side of me that. So like with Viral, for instance, like you get to see one of the main characters, right? So you get to see her day to day life. Like you get to spend time with her family. You get to see like what her home is like. You get to see all these things that are part of her life, like her car, her her talking about her job. All these things
Right.
in detail, right? With me, like you don't get to see all of that, right? So you only get to see me on the dates
Sure.
that I'm on. So I mean, I think a lot of people wouldn't know that I'm very big into family. I'm very close to family, friends. I'm very close to people that have been with me through thick and thin. Like they're the reason why I am the person I am. Like they've played an integral part in you know contributing to my life. Like they've played a big role in making me the man I am today, right? So, people don't really get to see that part of it as much as they get to see just me being on dates. So, I feel like that's something that people don't know about me, and even though I say it on camera, I say it on camera. It's different when you actually see me interacting with like friends and family versus me just saying things on camera, right? So I think that's one of the biggest things that people wouldn't know about me, and that I'm fluent in Gujarati, Hindi. I speak
Oh
speak
wow.
and I can, yeah, so I can, because I grew up in India, so I had I gone to I moved here when I was 12, so in school we learned how to speak, obviously speaking at home too, but reading and writing we learned that during schooling, like early on, probably from like second or third grade. We integrate that as part of our normal, like you have Spanish and English, and those languages. Same thing over there with like Gujarati and Hindi, depending on which part of India you live in.
Yeah, and that's really interesting too, because not most people that are born and brought up here, especially with me or my friends, none of us can speak Hindi. We can barely speak
Yeah,
Gujarati and chop languages. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
kind of like, it's kind of one of those things. But I am learning, and I also think like even the show, like I feel like they don't cover this. I feel like sometimes it kind of gives everybody a reality check of what they should focus on. Maybe like being roots with their culture, because that's maybe what Indian women like. Maybe also from like the Indian woman side, like maybe they like guys that do try or guys that are very skilled in a certain skill, right? Like rock
yeah,
climbing. That's very
yeah,
unique. Like I feel like that's not something that most guys do, and I think that kind of also kind of makes you feel like looks different, to me at least, anyways.
yeah.
Um, so and
Yeah,
then
no, I mean that's very important, and I think it also helped that at home, like my aunt, because I grew up with my parents are back home, so that's another
right,
thing that you don't see on TV, right? Is um, I mentioned that on TV, but you don't see my interactions with
true,
my
yeah,
family,
yeah,
like my aunt and uncle, and my immediate family. So yeah, my
wow.
aunt, like, she made a rule, like at home, she's like, when you're at home, you're only speaking in Gujarati, like not English. So
Oh,
she made a rule in the house, and then so in the house, like we kept up with like the Gujarati, like the
the Gujarati,
like
the
speaking
everyday stuff, yeah. Just
every
like
day, like
sitting down, talking about like food and just conversing, I guess, right? So
exactly. And they even made us, like, how during like pujas and stuff, there's
yeah,
like parts and stuff you have to like read from the book.
yes,
So so they would like like she would make me read like those chapters in Gujarati. Like she would force me
what?
to read it, right? So,
That's
and
sick.
I'm very thankful for that, because I mean, if I
Yeah,
hadn't done that,
good
I
skill.
wouldn't be able to read and write Gujarati to this day, right? So yeah, that was very it was like everyone was reading it at like a normal pace, and for me it would take a little bit longer, because I'm like, I can read, but it's not as fluent as me being able to read English, right? Just because I
Right.
don't do it every day. So it was kind of choppy, but I can definitely read it at a decent pace. But because of that, that's the reason that I can still read it, because she
That's
forced
insane.
those things onto us. And then obviously when we're not at home, we would speak English. So that's why I don't have an accent either, because I had cousins that I grew up with within the same household that we spoke English. Like, even at home, we would, like, when we're by ourselves in our room, we would speak English, and they would kind of uh, help me learn, like, the proper way of, like, the American way, quote unquote, of speaking, like certain words, certain sentences, and things like that. So that
Right.
kind of helped me, like, be more quote unquote Americanized in, like, the English that I spoke as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like yeah, like you said, you can't even tell that, you even have an accent.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's good to know that you also understand other people that do have accents that also can read Gujarati. It's like another way to break in through language, right?
yeah,
Break through language barriers. So I think
for sure,
you'll
for sure.
you'll definitely learn a lot of ways to connect with other people. And also if let's say you and Viral, your current girlfriend, you
Yeah,
guys go to like India or something. I mean,
yeah,
it's gonna come out handy, right? Instead of Google Translator, you can be like, well, this is
for sure.
where we are. This is like where the dosa house is. This is where Pani Puri house is,
Exactly.
like something like that.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it
So
definitely
even
helps. Definitely helps. Yeah,
no, definitely. And
yeah.
is do you think in the future maybe you'll show like your I guess if you do have kids or whatever, would you show them how like Gujarati? Would you teach it to them? You think there's an importance in that or?
Oh, 100%. 100%, without a doubt. Like, I think that's something that I'm going to teach them, like, at a young age. So even if it's, like, not me, like, I'll definitely teach them.
Right.
But there's like there's classes that kids take, like, at, like, the manders and stuff like that, that they teach them how to, like, speak and write Gujarati. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
I learned how to speak because when I was growing up, I was in a Swaminarayan class.
Okay.
Bop, Swaminarayan,
Yeah.
Akshardham, and stuff. I was in
Yeah.
a class like that, and they taught me how to do the ka kha ga ma. So I learned a
Yeah.
little bit about it, but I forgot
Yeah.
everything because it was for like
Yeah.
a brief for a few months, and then that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah, so they have those things as well that they offer. So I know, like, my nieces and nephews, like, in LA, they used to take it as well. They're a little older now, but they used to take that, like, during, like, their parents forced them to take it.
Right.
And, of course, like, they're not gonna like it because they're like, this isn't English. What am I doing here? But I think it's important to, like, instill those values early on in my kids. So I think I'm definitely gonna do that. Like if I can teach them, like Hindi as well, I'm definitely gonna do that. So, like I'm big into Bollywood movies as well. Like, music,
Same,
movies.
same.
Yeah, for sure. So I think,
Awesome.
like having them, like watch those movies with me, I think would be great as well. Just because I think it's important for them to learn about our culture because they are Indian. So I think it's
Yeah.
important for them to learn, and even just kind of see, like, where we're coming from as parents, right? Like, what movies we used to watch, like, what kind of made us into, like, the people that we are.
I think also like just seeing like all the way people dance, the colors that come out of it, even the storyline, the plot. I
Hmm.
mean, I feel like there's so much culture in these Hindi movies, and
Yeah,
and it's just different. Like it's just you learn stuff about how Gujarati families, Hindi families, Muslim families. You learn so much about that, East Asia, South Asian cultures, and so
yeah,
I think it'd be a very integral part of showing them. And on top of that, they can relate to other kids too, other
yeah,
people in different races, and just have a conversation like, "Did you watch this Hindi movie?" And
yeah,
nowadays, that conversation is getting bigger. But I also feel like being in America, also the caveat is that they don't get exposure to it unless if the parent or someone above them shows them that. If you
yeah,
decided, if Aashay decided not to show them, your kids would never learn
yeah,
to adopt that stuff because you're more Americanized, right? So it's up
yeah,
to you to kind of teach them. And I
yeah.
think it's going to be a challenge for our generation, especially.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, and I'm Americanized for sure, but I definitely have that side to me, right? Like when
Yeah,
I go to, like Indian function, or people are speaking, like, in, like, Gujarati and Hindi, like, I automatically switch to that mode. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's
that's
when I go
insane.
back home,
That's impressive.
yeah, when I go back to India, uh, like, people are very, like, they're surprised by, like, how quickly I just shift over to, like, the Indian, like, mindset. Not just mindset, but just, like, the Indian, like, language, and, like, Gujarati, and how quickly I just switch over to, like, the mannerisms, everything, right? So I think that's just ingrained in me, like, from growing up in India, right? So I
Right.
think that just comes with it.
So like that's awesome to know about just like your family orientedness, and it shows that you really care about that.
Yeah,
So let's talk about your fashion because I feel like also you're very family oriented, but you also have like this edgy fashion to you,
yeah,
and like where's that coming from? Where did that root?
yeah.
Like, Because I
Oh,
feel like you're the most. No offense to anyone else on that show, but I feel like you're pretty fashionable. And even
oh, thanks, man.
looking at your Instagram, like you like to wear all these like bold, outlandish colors that
Yeah,
most people wouldn't go for, right?
yeah,
I'm hitting the
for
nail.
sure.
So,
Yeah,
like, let's talk about it. Like,
yeah,
where
no,
did
no,
it
for
come
sure.
from? Where
And
do you shop? So,
yeah, so actually, it started honestly when I was growing up in India. The only colors I would really wear, so blue is my favorite color. So the only color I would really
me too.
wear, it,
So,
yeah, blue. Yeah, so blue and black is the only thing I would wear. Like, and maybe some white, right? Like growing
yeah.
up, I'm like, because my mom would show me like colors. She's like, oh, here's like this red T-shirt. Like we would go to like stores and stuff to like shop for clothes and stuff, right? So she'd be like, oh, here's like a yellow T-shirt. Here's like a red T-shirt. Why don't you try this on? And I'm like, no, why? Like it's not black or blue. It's red. It's yellow. It's green. Like why? I don't want to try that on. And so
Yeah.
I was very much like opposed to trying anything outside of like those colors. And then once I moved here, even like during like high school and even halfway through undergrad, like I was still like in the same boat. Like I was still, I wouldn't branch out and try other things. I wouldn't do any of those things. And I think a lot of it also had to do with like my physicality. So I was actually when I graduated high school, I was 4'11".
Oh,
I
what?
was 4'11". I was like 100 pounds, like literally, like
4'11" height wise?
yeah, I was 4'11" when I graduated high school.
What? But how much? Like, what's your height now?
5'11".
Yeah, how? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so the thing is, I grew literally after I graduated high school. I went back home to India to visit my parents, right? For
Okay.
the entire summer, I went. I grew 6 inches that summer,
What
and
the heck?
yeah, and
So
then once I came back, I grew
yeah.
another 6 inches. So within like a span of a year after I graduated high school, I grew a foot.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah, so like my
so uncommon.
confidence was like very low in high school, right? Because it was
Right.
just very like high school was a rough time just because like you get picked on like I was new to the country, I
Right.
had an accent, you like and high school kids are like that's the prime target for them to pick on, right? So I got picked on a lot during high school. So high school was really bad, but so I think my confidence was very low. So I wasn't like trying anything new. I was just kind of being myself. I was just kind of in my own shell. I was just had a few friends here and there. I wouldn't really experiment with anything different, right? And then I grew. I started started becoming more aware of like like skin. I started being more aware of like clothing, what to
Cool.
wear, and I would start watching like these these Hollywood stars and Bollywood stars like wear all these different types of clothes, and I started like branching out a little bit more every week or every month. Like I would try something different, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this, and I would literally just and I couldn't even color coordinate at that time. Like even like in undergrad, like I can
Yeah.
see colors. I'm not color deficient, but I couldn't color coordinate. Like literally everything I was wearing was mismatched. Like everything was like
Right.
people are like,
All
"What are you
different
doing?"
colors.
Like
Yeah.
that shit doesn't go with those
No.
pants or whatever. And then so I started becoming more conscious about that stuff. And then after a while, I think it just then I moved to Chicago for optometry school, and I wanted to be in a bigger city, anyways, right? So I was hesitant to move there at first because I didn't know anyone there, but I decided to just move and take the plunge, and I moved. And being in a big city, you see all these things. Your eyes, you open up your eyes to like different things, right? So because St. Louis to Chicago is a big difference. Like it's St. Louis is not as progressive as Chicago is, right? So you see a lot more people with like trying different things. I started trying different foods, of course, different clothing, different outfits, and you go shopping in like stores and things like that, and you see all these mannequins with like the different like displays, and they're wearing like these bright colors, and they're wearing all these outfits, and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Let me try that. So I
Yeah.
started trying that, and then I started researching just like online, and like social media wasn't around back then. Like Instagram wasn't there, Facebook even wasn't there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so like there was nothing for me to like rely on because nowadays like you can go on Instagram, type in fashion, and you see a million different posts about like
Right.
different
There's so
fashion
many.
outfits, different ideas. You got Pinterest, you got all those things to kind of help you along the way. So I didn't have any of that, so I had to rely on trial and error. A lot of it was just like going to stores, just seeing different things, trying different outfits, and I think a lot of it also has to do with confidence. So just because something doesn't go with match with something else doesn't mean that you can't really make it work. So I started, I just started trying all these different things, and initially it was outrageous. It was like I look like a clown probably, to people that were with me, my friends and things like
Con
that. So
artist.
yeah, but I went through that phase as well. So I just started trying new things, and then I started getting compliments from people. Like when I would try different things, they're like, "Oh, that looks really good. You can pull that off.
Yeah.
You're tall. You have that body type where you can pull off a lot of the outfits that someone else might not be able to." So I'm like, okay, like let me keep trying more and more. Let me just start experimenting with a lot more things. So then that's just how I started like getting into it, and then yeah, even to this day, like I'll mismatch certain things just because I want to do it. Like I want to do it just because I don't like. I think fashion is also like a statement that you can make on your own. Like doesn't matter like what people think. Is if you feel like you're comfortable and confident enough in wearing certain things, I think you should go about doing it because I think it's great because it's a way to make your own statement and to just kind of you
Wow.
know you know define your own kind of like your own way into like oh, I like these things a certain way, I like wearing these colors, and you can just kind of have your own statement just by the clothes that you wear.
Have you ever gotten, I guess, picked on for fashion, like certain things you wear or something, or some? Do ever does anyone say, "Oh, this outfit doesn't go right"? I know it has happened in the past, but has it happened recently or anything? Because being
Yeah,
fashionable is also awesome, but then there's also times where I'd wear like a pink blazer with like
yeah,
I don't know, little pink dress shoes or dress
yeah.
pants, and then I
That's a
had
good
people friends
combination,
who
by the way. That's a
huh?
good combination. I like that.
I really
I
like
like that.
that too, but I
Yeah,
got called the pink Power Ranger the other day.
yeah.
So what do you say to that?
Yo, I just say you're welcome. Like honestly, like I still get people that are like oh,
Yeah.
like that are like, and friends literally tell me they're like, you know what? If it was anyone else that was wearing it, like it wouldn't look right on them. But like you pull it off, or you wear those things without you don't care about what people say. So I think you also have to have like it's also mental because you have to have that mental just kind of confidence that you can pull it off. Like even to this day, like I get people that are like, oh, that looks ridiculous, like why are you wearing that? But I'm like because I want to. Like it's what makes me feel comfortable. What makes me feel confident, and I think that's half the battle, if not most of the battle. So I think it's okay to like mismatch, and I think it's okay to have your own style, because I think that's what defines you. Like I don't go with like what everyone else wears, like because I don't like that's boring to me, right? Like
Yeah.
of course I
Okay.
have those staples, like jeans, leather jacket, and all those things. Like there's certain things that are like bread and butter. Like certain things are just timeless and classic. But there's certain things where I'm like, oh, I don't care. I'll mismatch these things. I'll dress the way I want to, and hopefully I can make it work, and that's that.
Are you also big on time, like watches or anything like that, or no? Are
I
you?
love watches. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love
Okay,
watches.
so
Yeah,
they're your statement pieces too, on
yeah,
top
yeah.
of
I
like
do.
rings and
Yeah, so I
necklaces.
don't really care about like certain brands. I don't really like. I think if a watch looks good, um,
Same. Yeah.
yeah, I think like if it looks good, you can spend $50 on a watch, or you can spend $500 on a watch. I think if you feel like the $50 or $100 watch is better, if you vibe with that, if you think that looks good, like I think go with it. Like I don't really feel like you have to spend an extravagant amount of money to look good. Like I think you can literally you know come with an outfit that's less than $100 or less than $50, as long as like you pull it off and you're comfortable in doing it. I think that's the most important thing. Is I don't think it's crucial to spend $500 or $1,000 on a watch. Like I just don't see the reason to, if you feel like it looks good. Of course there are
Right.
watches that are more expensive that do look good, but I don't think it's something that you should put a dollar value on. I think if it looks good, if you like it, I think you just wear it no matter what the price is.
I absolutely agree with that too because I've seen people buy brands just for like the name and not really the color or the art. And
Yeah,
I feel like art is such a big thing nowadays because when
yeah,
you have like a very nice watch, it could be like a fossil watch, it could be like one of the lower end ones,
yeah, yeah,
but then you could have like a nice watch that just is like a Louis Vuitton or Gucci, but then
yeah.
it's almost imitating the same replica of just the same, the green and yellow and
Yeah,
same snake thing, right? But unless
exactly.
if it's like a certain like rarity to it,
Yeah.
I feel like there's still gonna be mass buyers nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So people have
For sure.
money. It's not like they don't.
Yeah. Oh, and I just bought. I was in LA what like 3 4 weeks ago, and actually, do you remember those old school Casio watches that were
Yes,
like,
yes, yes, yes.
yeah? So I saw one of those like in gold, right?
What? They have that
Like,
like, it was a
yeah.
G-Shock, right? You're talking about like a G-Shock almost?
No, no, yeah,
SEO?
kind of looks like that, but it's not as big as a G-Shock. It's one of those. It's
Maybe.
like a square like face with like digital writing, and it
Okay.
like it glows in the dark as well. Like as in like you press a button and it lights up so you can see the time. It's
I'm
called
just
it's just called Casio
black
something. That's
gold, I guess.
yeah, Casio. Yeah, I forgot what it is.
Whoa, this is nice, man. This is
You
if
see it?
it's a Casio, there's Casio men's digital vintage, and then there's Casio daily alarm digital gold
No, I
tone
think
watch.
it was a vintage. It was one of the vintages.
Okay,
So
that's nice though. It does look really nice.
yeah, yeah. So and that was I think that was $50 when I got it from I think it was Nordstrom or
Yeah.
Macy's. I saw it at one of the stores, and I'm like, oh, because I used to wear those Casio watches when I was younger, like the ones with like the plastic straps and like the those. So I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. I love the Casio look.
Wow.
I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it. So and it looks great. Like it's gold, and it was $50. I think 50 or $60 at the most. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
looks
it's
good.
not bad price at all, and it looks very
Yeah,
stylish too. And if
yeah,
you wear gold with like black, white,
yeah.
especially white, I think it'll look beautiful. You know,
It
it would
looks
look
amazing, yeah. So that's why like I think price doesn't really mean anything as long as you like it and as long as you're gonna wear because you could buy like a $20,000 watch, but if you're not gonna wear it, what's the point? It's just gonna sit around, right?
right,
So for me,
right,
it's like I would rather buy something that looks good that I'm gonna wear on a consistent basis, and and I'm not spending an arm and a leg when it
right.
looks just as good, so I think it's a lot of it's not, you can't put a cash value on it. I think it's just what you can rock with. You can, whatever you feel comfortable doing. I think that's what you should do.
So I have an interesting question because we were
Yeah,
talking about you fashion and the watches. So if you ever go on a date with Viral, how long does it take you to get ready? Because
a
you're
lot.
fashionable, she's fashionable,
Yeah.
right? So how long do you take equally as long as her, or you guys have separate? You're quicker than she is.
No, no, I take longer. I take
You take
longer.
longer?
I take
Oh
longer.
wow,
Yeah, for sure.
that's
Yeah, like
insane.
any relationship I've been in, I've always been the one that takes longer to get ready.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think it's just about like I always change like outfit ideas at the last minute. I'm like, oh, you know what? Actually, instead of this, I think this will look better.
Right.
And I changed my mind. I feel like I want to rock with this one. So yeah, I take longer. I know it's sad to say, but I take longer than
No, no,
than
it's interesting. It's interesting. I think it's
yeah,
interesting because usually they say like the girl takes longer, but
yeah,
in your case, I mean, sometimes if you're fashionable and you really like fashion, it's not like
yeah,
you're just messing around.
yeah,
It's kind of like for you, it's like an identity thing
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
confidence. So it's good
yeah,
too. And um, for people who are single and like in your shoes, like they have an accent or
yeah,
even if they don't have an accent, they just have confidence issues. How would you say to not? How would you give them advice on how to tackle their mental health and
yeah,
maybe to like do what you did? I know for
yeah,
you being in optometry school and doing the
yeah,
move to Chicago
yeah,
was like a big deal. So
yeah.
how would you like talk to them and like how would you give it like what's your advice to them if you
Yeah, no,
have
that's a good question. No, so actually, my self-esteem was very, very low during high
yeah.
school, right? Just because I got picked on a lot. I was one of like probably three to five Indian kids in school, in a school of 2,000 kids, right? So and in my
Wow.
class, I was probably one of two, like Indian kids. And
Mhm.
I think I was the only one that was born in India and had just come to America. So one of the kids was like born in America and he was raised here. So he wasn't, yeah. So I was literally the only one in my class that had just migrated to America. So my self-esteem was low. I was picked on a lot. So definitely, like I understand like where like that comes from, right, in people's minds. So I've always had like a chip on my shoulder, as in like, okay, I'm gonna quote unquote, I want to show them what I've become, right? Like as an adult, even though I don't look for like affirmation from other people. I don't look for confirmation from other people. I'm gonna do my own thing. Like I don't really care. And I think that's taken a long way. Like that road has been a long road. That, like, through high school and then undergrad. Like I wasn't very confident with women, with dating, things like that, because I had self esteem issues like back in high school and even like halfway through undergrad. And I think a lot also had to do with me being very short, me being actually got I asked a girl out for prom in high school. I built up the courage. I'm
Wow.
like for like a day or two, I was like I'm very nervous. I'm gonna ask this girl out to prom, and I finally asked her to prom, and she says no, right? So then
Oh
so
wow.
that even took like a bigger hit, right? I'm like shit.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm like I probably shouldn't have done it, blah blah. And then I did end up going to prom with like a girl ended up asking me, my friend's sister, she ended up asking me. So we just kind of went as friends to prom. But yeah, so like definitely like my self esteem was very very low, right? So I was not very good with like like women, with even communicating with people like in general, just because I was very self conscious about what I was saying. I was very shy, and then I really like broke out of my bubble probably the later half of undergrad, and then once I moved to Chicago, that actually changed me completely. Like I was a totally different person, uh, total 180 from what I was in St. Louis to when I moved to Chicago. Because one, I was by myself, like literally by myself, without any like family around at all. So that really forced me to get out there, and I made friends during school. We kind of had like a group of friends that we used to go out all the time, uh, and so that really broke me out of my shell. And then that's when I started like experimenting with fashion, and then I would have girls like start like liking me, uh, and then I would just all these wheels just started rolling. So I think that's just what the process that it took me to get to the part where I am right now. So like it just very, when people like say, oh, like why are you doing this? Like why are you like this? I tell them I'm like, look, I have nothing to be ashamed of. Like I've been through a lot, and like I I don't apologize for anything that I do. Right. So I think for people who are in the same boat, I think it's just a matter of just staying the course and just knowing that better days are ahead of them, because it's honestly it's
Right.
just a phase, right? Like you're going to go through ups and downs. I go through ups and downs in my life. You
Right.
do, everyone does, right? Like it's
Everyone.
human nature. We're all humans at the end of the day. We're going to have emotions and feelings and thoughts, but I think it's just important to either like find someone to talk to, if it's like a therapist or like a family member, friends. Just talk to someone that you can just be open with and have an honest conversation with, and just kind of put your thoughts out there. And yeah, I think it's just it's a phase. It'll pass, and I think better days are ahead of you. I think you just have confidence. Just put your head down and just do what you're doing. Sorry, one second. I'm gonna let them pass by.
Yeah, no worries. There's a podcast. You can just be chilling right now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I
That's
just
the
want
good
to
thing about
appreciate the
podcasts. Like,
yeah.
people like to see the raw version, right? So they'll
I
know we
know.
have like other trials and tribulations. It's okay.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so I think everyone has dark days. Everyone has good days. I think it's just important to know that you're. It's so hard to you know be a human being in general, right? Like it's so hard to get to the point where you are. Like just to be born is super hard, right? Like
It's rarity, rarity,
it's a
huge
rarity, right?
rarity.
So like I think it's like, to me, the way I look at it is I think it's just a gift. Like I don't let things keep me down for long, because I'm like the bigger picture is I'm here, I'm healthy, I have people that love me. I have I'm able to do everything that I want to. So why am I going to let one thing ruin my day or my week, right? Like of course I get upset, right? Like of course there's things that bring me down, but then uh, I think I just have a self-built mechanism within me that just kind of I snap out of it like relatively quickly. Thankfully, I don't really let things um, get to me too much, just because I just look at the bigger picture. Like I look at things could be a lot worse. Things could be you could have loved ones that are you might lose a loved one. You might things could be a lot worse, right? So it's a matter of perspective. And I think just getting help when you need it, I think is crucial, because if you go down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole and you go too far in, and then sometimes it might be harder to get and accept help, just because you might have gone too far. So I think that's just an important thing that I think I would recommend, is just to kind of talk to someone when you need it, and then just kind of know that there's a bigger purpose. Like things happen in life, right? Like you're gonna have ups and downs, but know that there's a reason for things to happen, right? Like there's a reason why certain things happen. It might be to it might be for bigger things down the road in your life. So just kind of keep your head up and just work hard and just power through it. And I think better days will be ahead of you.
No, and I think you hit a very good point. It's very powerful, dude, because a lot of people in our culture and stuff, I feel like, mental health, one of those things, it's from a parental standpoint, not a lot of parents are supportive of it. They think it's a
Yeah.
gimmick. They think it's
Yeah.
like non-existent.
Yeah.
And trust me, I have people that I know in pharmacy school, medical school, all areas of life where they've opened up and they've been in a dark place here and there. And like you said,
Yeah.
if you're down a rabbit hole way too far, it's so easy to say that, hey, like build confidence or do this, but sometimes when you're that deep down, and I'm sure we've all been, it's
Yeah.
really hard to just even listen to people, and it's not even, you're probably saying the right words, but it's hard to connect because um self-conscious, but like in your mind, and
Yeah.
your mind is like the most like craziest thing, right? Like when you go through a breakup, it's like
Yeah.
you're going through shit, and then when you have marriage, you're also happy, but
Yeah.
it's crazy how much levels of happiness and non-happiness or sadness you feel
Yeah.
just from all these memories or life experiences, right? You could be at a vacation and your boy gets hurt or your friend gets hurt, and it just ruins the whole vacation, and then your mindset's just like, oh, like I can't believe that happened, right? So
Yeah.
it's crazy, man. But
Yeah, and it's yeah. Some people deal with it a lot better than others, which is fine because everyone has their own mechanism. Everyone, everyone's mind is not the same, right? So, and that's what makes us beautiful as human beings. I think it's just some people just handle it differently, and but I think it's like if you need help, I think it's just important to like just know that. And like you said, I think in like our community, I think it's very like taboo and it's like a stigma to like seek help, right? Because one, like the kids don't want to tell their parents because they'll be like, oh, they'll just brush it off to the side and be like, it'll go away,
exactly.
whatever, right? But I think and I think more and more people are coming around, even in our community, and they're speaking up and being open about it. So I think that's very important as well.
No, it's good, and it's like I feel like you guys, like in the cast too, you guys are very open to it, and I'm sure you guys have been through the rounds of aunties and the rounds of people and just the marriages too, and being single, right, during marriages and
Yeah,
stuff, and seeing your friends kind of like, I guess, being that engagement around going through, just their life. But like I just went to an engagement yesterday, dude, and I'm just like
yeah,
I'm still single, so I'm like comparing myself to like my friends and stuff too, and we're all 28, 29, so
yeah,
it's already like hitting me, but I'm
yeah.
trying my best. It's just, sometimes you just don't have the cards in your favor, so.
Hey man, yeah, yeah. You just gotta like timing is everything, right? In that when it comes to that, especially like it's just when it's meant to be, it'll happen. Like it's just yeah. I think like that's one thing I've never let that be a factor in my decision, right? Like I'm 37. I've never let like the timelines that people set on me be a factor in my decision to find a partner, right?
Right. And I think you and Sheetal are very strong for that. I think you guys
Yeah,
have a very strong mindset. And I always look up to that because it's almost like a big brother, big sister kind of mindset. But also,
yeah,
people, we need that in our mental health community because this thing is such a, like you said, it's taboo, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And I'm here
yeah,
talking about it. So, I
yeah,
think it's one of those powerful things. I think we should preach that. But yeah,
for
dude,
sure.
just you want to do a quick rapid fire round before, we
Yeah,
end this thing?
yeah. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Favorite car, go.
Wait, so you got cut off. What'd you say?
Favorite car, go.
Favorite car? I would say Lexus. Lexus right now.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Favorite kind of food for a food or dish?
Favorite kind of food? I would
Yeah,
say khichdi.
khichdi.
Like
Okay, that's
comfort.
an
That's my
interesting one.
comfort food. Yeah, I would say
That's your
khichdi. Yeah,
comfort food. Yeah, it's like my health. Like when I get a fever, I always go for khichdi.
exactly.
Um, uh, favorite place to travel with?
Favorite place to
Travel
travel
to.
to?
Travel to. Yeah, travel to.
Oh, travel to?
Not
I would say
with.
Australia. Australia.
Okay, okay. Do you want to see like the wildlife there, or just see like
Oh no, no.
Sydney?
Oh, you mean someplace I haven't been?
Oh, some place you
Oh,
haven't been.
Iceland. I would say Iceland or Greenland.
Okay, okay, awesome. Me too. Me too. I want to see
Yeah,
the big horses
yeah.
and
There you
the
go. Yeah,
borealis.
yeah.
And the
Exactly.
last thing. Who's your favorite podcaster and why?
Who's my favorite podcaster? I would say Joe Rogan.
Same. And I like
Yeah,
Joe
I think
Rogan.
Joe. I think he's just so real and just so raw, and I think he gets things out of his like he gets things out of his guests that he goes deep in it, and he gets
He goes deep. He goes deep. It's like a freaking movie every episode. So it's like
yeah, it's
two to
like two
three
hours long,
hours.
which I love. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. But dude, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate you
Hey,
with all
thanks for
the
having me, man.
scheduling. Yeah, no, dude, it's great to have you. And I feel like
Yeah,
we can talk about fitness and anything. So
yeah,
definitely would love to have you on more and just make
Yeah.
this a thing, you know. So it'd be nice to
Oh,
always.
for sure, man. No, anytime, man. Yeah, I love linking up with like people who are genuine, like yourself, right? Like I feel like
Mhm.
you genuinely like want to connect with people, and I think you're great at podcasting too. Like you ask really good questions, very insightful. I think
Thank you, appreciate
you
it.
really, I think you, yeah, you really bring that out of like your guests as well. So I think that that's really good.
I heard not to cut your guests off and also
Yeah,
listen. So that's one of the two things I'm focusing on. But it's also, it's a learning in progress. So I think both.
yeah. No, absolutely, man. You're killing it. You're doing great.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, bro. All
All
right.
right.
Peace, man.
Later. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.